the city of the Black Rose, a vast tri-level metropolis filled with magic, mystery, and danger. We move past the twisting Art Nouveau balconies and palatial estates of the upper city, through the glittering lights and Art Deco grandiosity of Central City, all the way down to the Gothic spires and cobblestone streets of the lower city. Music, sweat, and smoke swirl in the night air as millions of Mavrosians unwind from a hard day's work in nightclubs, speakeasies, brothels, and the location of our adventure, the Carnelian, the most famous casino in the Canetown district. Like many buildings in Mavros, the Carnelian has a storied history going back hundreds of years, but over the past century, the misery and degradation suffered by its patrons seems to have spread to the faded red buttresses and arches of the building itself, and the Carnelian has sunk into a state of slow decay. Our characters have come here tonight because the owner of this casino, Victor Guza, is up to something deeply nefarious, something involving the spirits of the dead. You know that whatever Victor Guza is doing is happening at a secondary location that no one has been able to find. But there are 2 rooms in this casino that you think contain teleportation portals that could get you there: the manager's office and the counting room. Your goal is to infiltrate this casino, avoid or survive the security, find a way into one of those rooms, and put a stop to what Victor Guza is doing. We will start with Zuìhuo. Where are you in this building, and what do you look like?
I am at the craps table, because as every gambler knows, that's the table where the actual odds are actually odding, perhaps in the gambler's favor, because it's pure luck. We see Zuìhuo nervously standing around this table, fingers rubbing together, actually one thumb against a lucky coin that they've carried their whole life. And as we pan up their body, we see a rather short, mixed simia and human person. The 2 words to describe them would be line cook. They're rather greasy, a little scruffy. They've got this scruffy black fur/hair that sprouts out from their head. It's short and black, streaked through with white, and it blends into the toughest scruff at the back of their neck. They also have patches of scruff and fur at their elbows, their knees, kind of like on their chest and going up their throat. And they've got this real laconic, but still kind of nervous vibe, a kind of sluggish anxiety as they're rubbing that coin. Their dark black eyes are like these disturbed pools of ink as their gaze is fixed directly on the person who's currently rolling the dice before it's their turn. They're kind of like watching the dice go before it's cast out onto the felt. And they're muttering to themselves, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on.
Zuìhuo, I want to ask, are you at this table just to pass the time? Or are you at this table because you kind of got lost in the moment?
It's a both and. They were here early to scout out the place, but really they were here early to get a few games in before the rest of the crew arrived.
Yeah, exactly. So this room that you are in has a certain grandeur to it. It feels like this place would have been truly incredible about 80 years ago. But in the intervening decades, it has gained not necessarily dust, but just dirt. The whole room feels faded and darkened and just sad, as though it is being allowed to slowly decay. Even the table you're sitting at is scuffed. There, certain parts of the wood are like rubbed off and been scratched off, and you can see like little chips where maybe some violence has taken place here in the past. As you are sitting here, it finally arrives at your turn at the craps table. So what I need for you to do is to roll me, because we're not going to actually play craps right now. What I need for you to do is to roll me a luck check. This is going to be your 2d12s, your hope and fear dice, and I need for you to tell me what you get. You want to get higher rather than lower in this case.
I got a 13 with fear. My fear was the higher.
Okay.
8.
I'm going to say that is, you do actually win that hand.
Wow.
We'll say you get a single handful of gold. Not a lot, just a little bit, but it's one of those things like, oh, I think as the dealer hands this to you, this orc dealer hands you your chips, your hands like tingle, and as you hold them, like your whole body, the tingle spreads over your whole body. And with that fear roll, as you take these, you see another pair of hands place themselves on top of the chips. These hands are covered in blood, and they are scaly. They are somewhat dark and silvery, which is not the way that they looked in life. In life, the scales were the color of tiger's eye gemstones, but now they are dimmed with shadow, as if you're seeing them through a smudged window. You see these bloody hands, and Yujin, most of their head completely caved in on itself, looks directly into your eyes.
And Zuìhuo, who moments ago was doing the Studio Ghibli kind of head-to-toe rippling of excitement of the fur, now it's a rippling of repulsion and fear, and deeper than all of that, like a yawning pit they keep tumbling into and can't wake up from, is guilt. The shriek escapes her throat before she can control it. She staggers backwards, stumbles, and drops all the chips everywhere, kind of knocks a few of the patrons aside from the craps table, causing a bit of a disturbance. Sorry. And
Officials immediately begin. I think one of the security walks over to you. It's a goblin who's about as wide as they are tall. You'd think they may have some giant in their ancestry. Comes like walking over, sort of waddling, as they have to turn their body at an angle with each step. And they look up at you and they say, "Hey, we have a problem here."
No. I'm fine. I just, one of the coins looked like a beetle, and I thought it was skittering on me.
I'm going to need for you to roll me a deceive. I'm going to need you to roll me deceive.
Okay. So I got a 16 with already my +2, but with fear.
Okay, 16 with fear.
Checks out.
This security guard, who I think you know this security guard. I think you probably had run-ins with them before. The security guard is named Alonzo. Alonzo looks you up and down, and then just gives you a short little point eyes to the I'm watching you symbol, like points at their eyes, and points emphatically, sort of poking you in the hip, and then stomps back to where they were before.
Sorry, Al. Won't happen again. Promise.
And you see that Alonzo actually, at that, mutters something, like as they touch their earpiece, and you see that a couple of other security start to just sort of mosey their way in your direction. I think you've had enough run-ins with casino security that you are very keyed in to whenever security starts acting out of the ordinary.
You know what? I'm done with this table anyway. This game, I'm losing more than I've won, muttering as they scoop up the coins they've dropped and they stuff them into a leather pouch, and they're gonna casually mosey back into the crowd. As they do, Ta casts a slowly nervous gaze over the increasing hub of patrons as the night goes on, trying to scan the crowd for signs of their compatriots.
And let's go ahead and check in with those compatriots. Luis, can you please tell us who your character is, where they would be located, and what they look like?
Yes, my name is Erzan, and I am about 5'10", human and elf in appearance, mostly human with traces of elf, very clearly, distinctly on my face. My skin is a medium brown with gray-green overtones, and what stands out more than anything are my eyes. They are the color of a pre-dawn sky. It's orange, bursting out into teal, then this gray blue. And with that also, there's a noticeable slowness to how I blink. Almost with each flutter of my eyelids, it's another burst of a pre-dawn. And I'm wearing very unassuming clothes. I'm in black trousers and tan brown shirt. And I'm right now watching this unfold from a distance. I'm tending to some of the plants that are growing inside of this casino. Scattered throughout are a lot of different, they almost look like installations. These sort of giant pots in various shapes that are installed throughout the casino. Some of them have these like tall trees that are meant to be these sort of indicative of different climates, different parts of geography around the world. And I'm right now at a small installation where it's just a bed of flowers that would absolutely not survive the climate within this casino if it weren't for my efforts. So I am druiding like a druid does, that's in service to people with a lot of money that run this casino. And I am, as unassumingly as possible, I am allowing this magic to just sort of druid craft, dance around my fingers, and I very gently just push my hand forward into this bed of flowers as these threads of magic dance around them, and they start to perk up just a little bit, and the flowers open up just a little bit more. And although I am looking down at my work, I'm looking across mostly, and with my periphery. My attention is across from me, watching this, all this unfold at this craps table ahead of me. And I stand there waiting, staying as unassuming as possible, waiting for any of the other companions to show up, because I know not to step in and interfere when the powers that be are flexing their muscles inside of this casino.
Erzan, as you're standing near one of these installations, these are, aside from the bright lights of the slot machines and the tables, I think these are really the only things in here that sparkle. These plants, they feel more alive than anything else. And I think as these buds begin to open up, you hear whispers in your mind. A chorus of them in your mind.
That pulls me right in towards them, and I lean in, and I breathe that in and say nothing in return, but allow my exhalation to communicate everything, gratitude and appreciation, as I see that what I've done is in a way honoring something living that sadly to me goes so unnoticed in this place.
As you breathe in that pure life, the some of the only life in here that is untainted, and then breathe out that gratitude, would you please make me an instinct sense roll?
Ooh. Okay. It is a total of 25 with all my modifiers. 19 plus 4 plus 2. 25, but it is with fear.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. All right. I was going to be like, hey, if you could hit like a 20, that would be great. Yeah, 25. Okay, great. As you breathe this out, you feel like the breath swirling out of your nostrils and swirling almost in a pattern that matches like the root network that these plants have. And you feel in all of this chaos and this misery, a lot of it's really misery that's going on here, and in some cases joy, in some cases sorrow, in some cases fear. You feel swirling through a profound sense of connection to life, not just the plants in front of you, but every living thing in this place, and in particularly the plant life. I will say that you can, for the rest of the time that you are in this building, attempt to connect to any plant in any room in the casino.
Noted.
You feel their recognition, as they feel you touch them. Your awareness become aware of them throughout this facility.
Anybody who's paying attention to me, which hopefully is nobody, because I've been taught to try to remain as invisible as possible when I'm on the job, would see me slightly wobble, because I think it's almost a cacophony of voices that have remained unheard, and now when they have an opportunity to feel heard, it's almost overwhelming. And I also try to, as I connect to all this life, I try to use that to connect to what the contrast is. Show me where the death is.
I will let you know you're going to succeed, but because you initially rolled with fear, I think as you do that, you are drawn out from this moment to another room that is filled with plants, a much nicer room, a drawing room that has been utterly transformed and glamoured to resemble the inside of a jungle. You are at a death party that is taking place in the upper city. The death parties are the kind of party that rich people can hold, because in Mavros, resurrection is very accessible if you are rich enough. And for those who are rich enough, death tends to lose its all meaning. And so what they will do from time to time, in some cases, is get together as a group and die. They will have things befall them that kill them, and then it's sort of an adventure, a fatal adventure, and then they will be resurrected as part of that. For this particular death party, the theme is jungle dangers. And they have asked you and your compatriots, the company that you work for, Hemlock Exotic Plant Wranglers, to come in and provide dangerous and in some cases carnivorous plants to kill them. And so throughout the evening, there have been various rich toffs wandering about, being torn asunder by various dangerous creatures. And of course, there are attendants standing by with strict orders to immediately resurrect any rich people, any party guests who die. They are, however, under also very strict orders not to resurrect any workers who perish at the hands or tendrils of these beings. The party has largely ended. Things have kind of calmed down, and at this point, the party guests are sort of lounging in a clearing. Many of them having wounds that are still being like magically repaired as their souls have been returned to their bodies. You see an elf sort of look over at the host, this very proud Clank, this metallic sort of android-like being. The elf looks over at the Clank and says, Reginald, what a party! Oh, it's so... There's something about death that's so... Oh, I don't know, invigorating. And Reginald nods and says, Yes, I know exactly what you mean, Ophelia. I never feel more alive than when I've just died. And they're all sort of like, glad-handing and patting themselves on the back for being so brave. Some of them are, I saw when you were pierced by that spear that burst out of that flower. That looked incredibly painful. And he says, oh yes, I'm going to get the memories removed. You're just casually talking back and forth until one of them speaks up. An individual named Victor Guza. A Firbolg, from a very old family in Mavros. Firbolg, in this case, meaning sort of just a cow-like individual. He looks around the room and he says, That's not true death, though. And the party sort of stops. They all look at him. We haven't experienced true death. True death is that which you cannot return from. And they're like, well, whatever do you mean, Victor? True death is permanent. If we wanted to experience death in all of its fullness, one of us would have to die permanently. You can see at first sort of a shudder going around the group, but also, some of them are intrigued. You see on Ophelia's face a sense of interest. She says, So, what do you propose? One of us dies forever? And immediately start to lose the room. Victor says, No, Ophelia. There are others here whom we could sacrifice. And at this, all of them look intrigued. What passes next is a blur. Within a matter of minutes, the party has gone from congratulating themselves for their bravery to selecting a worker whom they feel that they can sacrifice to truly experience death. The security has descended upon this room, and they begin to search among all the employees for someone to choose, someone to kill. As they're going down the line, led by Victor, he's saying, no, I don't think they would scream loud enough. Next one, no, far too pretty to break. Turns to the next one, a woman that you know very, very, very well. A mixed ancestry, human and infernus, named Zanra. She's been working for Hemlock for probably a good 25 more years than you have. In fact, at her age, she probably would have normally retired if the pay was high enough for her to do so. They turn to Zanra and they say, what do you do in this moment, Erzan?
At first I see the drawing room and I see this place that's familiar, and it's almost as if I'm witnessing, I believe, this to be a different party, and I almost, as it's unfolding, am willing it and hoping it to not be the thing that I remember happening. I am trying to force this event to go a different way. And as I'm seeing it unfold exactly as I remember it, I'm in denial still until I see Zanra get chosen. And I know full well at this point that I'm in my own mind and that I am still at the mercy and prison by this moment. And I remember watching them pull her out, and the way she looked at me, she knew that I would want to do something. And she is who taught me to be still. She is who taught me to fade away into the background, to stay invisible, because that's what's going to keep us as safe as possible. And I'm here witnessing it work against her. But I do as she taught me to do. I stand still, and I want nothing more than to scream, than to lunge, than to snap the neck of the man that is taking this woman that is like my mother, dragging her towards this carnivorous plant that I was brought here to grow. And I remember how he presented her to this plant, the whimpers that were coming out of her, and how he suddenly stepping into this master of ceremonies position, knowing full well this power dynamic that he had over her, how he leaned in and he asked her, what is it that you're going to miss most when your life slips away from you? And I remember not being able to hear what she said. It was so soft. It was so afraid. But I'll never forget the look on his face as he absorbed that last little bit of despair from her. And the thrill that it gave him. But I did nothing. I just watched.
You watch as he places his hand upon her forehead and begins murmuring some sort of incantation. At this point, this has taken on the form of like a ritual, and the plants throughout the room begin to writhe and twist. You can feel that whatever he's doing to her is channeling some sort of deep, deep corruption. It's as though he's placing a curse on her. And as he takes his hand away from her forehead, you see some sort of, again, from the distance that you are at, you can't make out all the details, but it looks like some sort of like circular swirling mark on her forehead that glows dark purple. And he turns to the rest of the enraptured guests and nods. And it's as though she is drawn into the air by the darkness itself and floats over to this plant. I don't think she even struggles. I think she just looks and strains to try and find your face. And she makes eye contact with you. And she mouths something. Do you think that you can tell what she mouths before she is consumed?
I think I would try my damnedest to, yes.
All right. Then roll me an instinct perceive.
That is a 16 with fear.
Okay. She says to you in this moment, it's not your fault. Don't let this be a waste. And the vines of this plant, the plant's name translates essentially to hungry arms. These vines slide up and over her body, and it begins to extrude its stinging nettles into her and pump the venom that you know for a fact will break down her innards and allow the plant to feed on her from the inside out as she's being drawn down into its leaves. You feel that again, and now being echoed by every plant, not just in this drawing room, but in the present day in the casino, telling you, it's not your fault. Do not let this go to waste. You know, in your heart, you must destroy Victor Guza. You must destroy Victor and anyone who dares ally themselves with him. They all are corrupted. So when you search for the deepest corruption, you recognize this whole place is steeped in it. And the deepest area of the corruption, especially that there are specifically plants, is in the manager's office. So, as you come to this realization, we're going to jump back over to Zuìhuo. You are walking through this crowd, looking for your compatriots. I think it's quite difficult to find Erzan, and it's made even more difficult by the fact that every third or fourth person that you turn to is once again Yujin, looking back at you. Mouth slightly hanging open. You're not sure if it's because she wants to speak or it's because there's so much damage to the structure of her head that she can't fully close her jaw anymore. But you keep seeing her appear again and again, looking, imploring, trying to make eye contact with you.
Excuse me, sorry, coming through. You know what, this is easier if I just... And Zuìhuo is going to just fall silent and slip like a shadow between the thronging bodies of the gamblers here, and not only to try to find their companions, but to shake this ghost, this specter that's been haunting Ta. This specter is the whole reason Ta is here in the first place. Anything to do with spirit magic, Ta needs something to help Ta get rid of this ghost that's been dogging Ta's steps since she died.
As you slip into the shadows, I think, would it be correct in saying that Zuìhuo has a connection to the shadows on like a fundamental level?
Yes. For as long as Zuìhuo could remember, the shadows have felt more like home than any of the cobbled, dirty, twisting streets of the lower city. And for the longest time, they'd found refuge in the shadows, even when they didn't have a home to speak of. Now they have a dingy little apartment that they share with 10 other people. And as they grew up, they learned that the streets and the shadows were really one and the same. That the lower city is home as much as the darkness is, because there's so much darkness here. The looming buildings of the central city and the upper city casting their long shades over her neighborhood. She's learned to find solace and belonging here in the dark and in the cold. It's felt more like an embrace to her than light ever has.
As you slip into those shadows, you brush up against two things. One of them, I think you brush up against Erzan's awareness. I think since the moment that you met Erzan, there has been sort of a connection between the pair of you. I think there's a kinship there, that both of you have suffered a loss, and both of you are you're both interacting with that darkness, perhaps in different ways, but there's a real darkness, I think, that has settled over both of your lives. And you become aware of, I think, some of the emotions that Erzan is feeling. But also, you become aware of another presence, another familiar presence, the presence of Hecatae Hopewell, another individual who has a very powerful connection to shadows. Candace, would you please give us a description of Hecatae and tell us where they are right now?
You follow the kind of winding pathway through all of these tables and all of these machines and all of this noise and brightness and dinginess into the bathroom. The lights in here are dim at best. The countertops are wiped clean, but they're streaky. The mirror is much the same. And in front of this countertop, in front of the sink, is a petite elf of mixed ancestry, kind of a medium to light gray skin, what we would know as black features, full lips, big dark eyes staring at themselves in the mirror. Their kinky curly hair is big and frizzy and kind of up in like a pompadour in the front, and you can see a big white streak that's very dramatic, kind of darting through the darkness of their hair. They are wearing a little waistcoat that has a little chain peeking out of their pocket, as well as some kind of more satiny looking loose-fitting pants and a calf-length boot. There is a shadowy creature kind of just dangling around this person's neck as well. It looks like it's made out of pure shadow. And they are gripping the edge of this sink in a pink-knuckled grip as they are pep-talking themselves. Okay, Hecatae, you have done so much with your life that you didn't think you were going to do. And today is no different. You're gonna go in there, and you're gonna do some damage or whatever. You're gonna solve mysteries, and you're gonna lead a team. Maybe I lead a team. You're gonna be there for other people who are gonna lead the team, and everything's gonna be fine. You're good. You're great. Look at you, Blix. We're great, right? She kind of like zhuzhes a shoulder to wake the little shadow ferret around her neck up.
Blix awakens and immediately like shivers, and you see its fur just sort of bristle as it becomes aware of Zuìhuo reaching out through these shadows. And Blix looks at you and gives like a little.
Yeah. Ta's waiting. Gotta get out of here. But maybe just one last mantra. Okay. What did Ozrik say? You are strong, powerful, and gross in all the right ways, and you can do anything. Yeah!
Excuse me?
Yes? Hello?
Sorry, I haven't been able to pinch this off for a while. You've been in here like 20 minutes just talking to yourself. It is very distracting.
Oh, yeah.
I don't... Look, it's nothing personal. I know you sounds like you're going through a tough time.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, sweetie, please, could you just give it a rest for just 2 minutes?
Yes,
2
ma'am.
minutes, and I'll be done.
Yes, ma'am. Sorry about that. It sounds like you're also going through a tough time. I hope that it works out for you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Please get out.
Yes! And they leave. They kind of get outside and just sort of like smooth their clothes with a lot of effort and kind of do a little shake loose and then put on a bright smile. This person is very pallid, as I said, with these kind of big ears that kind of wink out of the back half of their hair that's kind of down and long to their waist. And I think they kind of crane their neck around the corner looking for anyone, but especially Zuìhuo.
I think you immediately see them.
Okay.
You see that she is like slipped out of a throng of people and is sort of standing there looking over at you. I think the pair of you lock eyes in this moment.
Yeah, Zuìhuo is like smoothing down the kind of like front skirt of the modern hanfu they're wearing, a kind of like black and silver shirt. This sash that's silver that dangles down, and this like short kind of like skirt that also is layered over on top of these loose-fitting trousers that cinch around the ankles. There you are, Hecatae.
Yep, I was attending to some business. Not that kind of business.
Oh, that's almost more concerning. Everything okay in there?
Yeah, totally fine. Everything's great. This place is less fancy than I thought, which makes it slightly less intimidating. So
yeah,
that's
the
good,
Carnelian
right?
hasn't been fancy for like a century or two. Hasn't been fancy since I was young.
Yeah, I've never gambled before. Like, where's the fun in that exactly? You're gonna spend some money and then not get any money back? I don't understand.
You know what? I don't really get it either, but I can't stop doing it. You know, because I don't know. The next hand, you might win big. And I have won big before, really. Yeah, I've won a lot of money, and I've lost even more. Huh?
You know, if you're saying that gambling is you put something down on the line and maybe you get something back, maybe you don't. I do that a lot with my alchemy, so I don't know. Maybe
alchemy and gambling are just the same, right?
All right, I am getting us off track. I need to focus. And you can see her eyes just start to drift to the tables and then back to you. Nope.
Well, I mean, I don't really see Ozrik or Erzan anywhere. Maybe we could get in a few more games before they get here.
Well,
I could teach you blackjack or mahjong.
Yes!
Poker?
I do like the sound of blackjack. That sounds complicated.
It's actually very simple, which makes it even more upsetting when you lose a lot.
Oh, no. Okay, well, you know what? Lead the way. Maybe we'll see Erzan on the way.
Okay, yeah, I've been looking for him everywhere. I even checked all the plants that, the drunk patrons like to pee in, but I don't see him.
That's criminal. That kind of behavior. What kind of person plants have their own consciousness. Would you like it if somebody peed on you? And you know what? If you do like that, I'm not judging you, man. I'm just saying that your consent is important.
Yes, yeah, definitely. I mean, what kind of sick freak would pee in a plant when they got
Please
really
don't
drunk?
pee on my plants. I hope neither of you are peeing on my plants.
Hey, no.
Erzan.
I would only pee on a plant that wanted me to pee on it. So don't worry about that.
It's only happened once. Twice?
I don't
Maybe
need to
6 or
know.
7 times. Okay.
Please don't. I'm gonna pretend I didn't hear that.
You all are crowding right in front of the door. Could I just excuse me? It's the same woman from inside of the. it's this little halfling woman who's. Excuse me. I do not want any
I'm so
part
sorry,
in what
ma'am.
y'all are talking about.
Yeah,
I don't need to.
Apologies.
Look, the peeing is for the bathroom, as far as I'm concerned.
Yep.
We don't need to be talking about that right now.
Right.
Excuse me.
And she just sort of slips between you all.
As soon as she's out of earshot, Zuìhuo leans into Erzan and Hecatae and says, that lady was kind of obsessed with pee, right? That was kind of
You
weird.
have no idea.
Oh boy. I've been standing this entire time. There's next to the bathrooms. There's a giant tree and another bed of flowers underneath it. And I've been here quietly listening to this talk about pee and wondering where I was when I was just on the other side of this giant tropical looking tree that also looks like it's out of place here. And the last thing I do in this moment is I just conjure a little bit of druidcraft, now wondering if these plants near the bathroom are some that have been peed on the most. So I'm just going to try to conjure a little bit of magic to freshen them up a little bit and shake my head. And then I'll turn back to the others. We're all met. Should we move beyond the bathroom? Wait, no. Where's Ozrik?
Almost on cue, you see a waiter run up to one of the cocktail waiters and say, "Okay, look, is there any way we can get more hot dogs?"
Found him!
There's somebody in the kitchen and we're running out of hot dogs. It's a problem. I don't have any. I serve cocktails. I know, but I'm desperate. We're running low. The waiter sprints past. And let's go ahead and jump over to the kitchen of this facility, where in and amongst the flurry of activity that must take place in any casino like this, Ozrik Johnson, Caldwell, can you please tell us what Ozrik is doing and what he looks like?
Okay, gladly. So, Ozrik, number one, he looks like a kind of I would describe him as like a black steel oven of a man, just like a big barrel belly. Normally he's wearing like a nice crisp white shirt and a tie, but since he's undercover, he's got on, a nice floral print shirt. But if you look closely, the flowers are screaming. He's got, a pair of, like bottle rim shades on. His horns are slicked back to cover his also thinning hair, trying to kind of create the illusion of hair and horns when both of them are actually a bit thin at the moment. He's also carrying a large coffin-shaped briefcase covered in iron bolts and spikes, and he has been hovering by the kitchen door, kind of just grabbing handfuls of hot dogs and hors d'oeuvres as soon as they come out. He's got the briefcase in one hand and a giant, I would say, a shrimp cocktail in the other one. And on the shrimp cocktail glass, in addition to the shrimp cocktail, there is 2 or 3 lit cigars just kind of dangling. And then he hears his friends on the other side, turns around and says, "Oh, right." And then he kind of as he's scurrying across the casino, is slowly slurping shrimp and puffing on his cigars and just saying "Oh man, I love casinos. I can't believe all this food is free. This is incredible."
The rest of you see Ozrik running towards you, pursued by several kitchen staff and looks like a member of security as he comes running on over. What do you all do now that you have met?
I think Hecatae sees Ozrik running and makes it a running stance, they need to also haul ass as well. I think you see their eyes look over at you in fear, we've been here before. Is this one of those? Are we going? We gotta go.
No, it's okay. Yeah, apparently there's a soft limit on how many hot dogs you're supposed to eat. So I moved to the shrimp cocktails to try and throw them off my trail, but apparently it's kind of all foods. Apparently, they're keeping soft tabs on how much you're gambling and how much you're eating. I haven't thrown a dice in years. It's bad. I got 13 terrible sons. You know this, Heck. You know this. And if I so much as set a finger on one of those tables and lose a cent of their college funds, I'm in big trouble with the missus, I think you know. So I'm sticking mostly, not the craps tables, I'm sticking to the shrimps tables, if you know what I mean. Here, by the way, I got a big goblet here if anybody wants shrimps, cigars. I can't believe they let you smoke inside. Isn't that crazy? It's great. I love it.
Yeah, I mean, is that true? Can you gamble more so that Ozrik can have more snacks, or?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. I mean, but
Zuìhuo, would you so terribly mind gambling more so they get off my case about all the snacks?
Well, I mean, gun to my head, I guess I have to, right? At this point.
Who's got a gun to your head? Let me know. I'll take care of it.
Well,
you see that as you guys say, like, let's gamble more, literally a small crowd of security that was about to approach you pauses and just, like, waits and watches.
Yeah, we're gonna go off to one of the high roller tables upstairs because we have shrimp money to burn, and that's where we're going.
That's true. I got a small fortune and I've never gambled before, but I'm sure it's gonna go well the very first time out.
I'm saying nothing. I'm watching them, and I'm taken by their behavior, but I'm looking around. Dealing with people is not necessarily my strength, but I'm looking around at the sea of people in this casino, and I actually kind of tilt my head a little bit as I observe how well they're blending in my eyes to a lot of the other people that are here, and I kind of give a sort of nod to myself as I just go back to the flowers and try to not draw any attention. But while I am there, I would like to, if I can, conjure a natural familiar.
Ooh, yes, certainly.
I am going to conjure one of the creatures that I enjoy observing as a pollinator more than any other. It's a small iridescent hummingbird that appears like a wisp, and among the flowers underneath the tree near the bathroom, suddenly there's like a small hummingbird that's hovering around, as if it's been there and belongs there this entire time, and will rest on my hand at a couple moments after I've conjured it.
This beautiful hummingbird that appears, and which, by the way, which costs 2 hope, I believe, because it can fly. It says, as it rests on your shoulder, you hear in your mind the voice of Zanra saying, "It's not your fault. Make sure this doesn't go to waste." And it's as though it's coming from the hummingbird.
I do whisper very quietly, "I hear you, and I know it's not, because I know whose fault it is."
The hummingbird at that sort of jerks its head and looks at a person whom I think you maybe have glimpsed before, but probably don't actually know. This person they stick out more so than most people here. Your compatriots are managing to blend in. This person sticks out. They are tall, they are thin, they are very, very pale. They have no hair whatsoever. They appear to be completely hairless. They appear to be some sort of elf, maybe, but there's something about their skin that looks almost like it's spongy, like there's something underneath the skin itself that's a layer of sponginess. And this individual is looking around, almost just scanning the room. There is I will say just instinctively, you can tell this person is very, very confident. There's a confidence to this person that implies they do not fear danger. I think especially having been around rich people before, you might recognize this person as somebody who likely has spent time as security, or perhaps a hired either hitman or perhaps even like a boogeyman, which, to explain what a boogeyman is in this context, once you get past a certain tax bracket, it behooves you to hire someone who is extremely powerful, who can act as a deterrent and an enforcer for you. It is very likely that this person is functioning as a boogeyman in this casino, in fact, as they're walking around, and you see him just sort of scanning the room. This is, I think, even the hummingbird, there's something very off about this person. They are clearly some sort of a threat as they walk through the room. But you go back to your plants. Mm-hmm. Did you have anything else you want to do before I jump over to the others?
I think if I'm near enough to the others and the security has backed off at all from them at this point, I will try to whisper to them, heads up, there's a bodyguard here, tall, pale, no hair, elf-like, I think. Definitely a boogeyman. I'm wondering who he's guarding.
It's gotta be Victor, right?
We'll say that you hear that through the plants. So, as you all are, heading upstairs, the nearby plants whisper to you with Erzan's voice.
It's gotta be Victor's boogeyman, right?
Right, we're just offloaded for the casino.
That's true.
That's true. They do have a lot of interest here, but also, ultimately it's his stuff we're trying to get into, right?
Do you think, could we perhaps get a table upstairs by the balcony and keep tabs on where this boogeyman goes? Because I think if we follow them, they might lead us right to our guy.
Smart idea.
That's a great plan. Oh my goodness. Okay. Hecatae kind of pats themselves down and pulls some coins out of their pocket.
Careful. A couple of those are
jingles them
beetles,
loudly.
actually.
Ah!
What? Really?
They are everywhere. They look exactly like coins, and they're everywhere. I don't know what's going on in this casino. I didn't want to say it to Erzan, but I think it's all the plants.
I don't mind them when they come out of a body, but when they're just around, not interested.
I mean, they're beautiful little fuckers, but I feel like it's confusing with all the currency.
Hecatae just jingles the coins in their hand as they walk around. I wish someone could show us to a fancy table. They summon all of the strength and courage that they have whenever they enter the Nightshade Lounge and try to act like a big shot.
That's right. We've got shrimp to eat and money to burn.
You see a fawn dealer looks up and says, "Are you looking for a table?"
Yes, preferably by the balcony so that we can survey the rest of the people in here that are surely to lose to us at the tables.
I have one for you right here, right this way. Leads you over, introduces himself as Zeke, and they begin immediately teaching. If you need instructions on how to play, they immediately begin teaching you how to play and start dealing you in for blackjack. I will say that what we will do is you all can roll to gamble. Those of you who are at this table can go ahead and roll to gamble.
Yeah.
Excellent.
So this is going to be 2d12s. Don't add anything. You want a high number.
I
Okay.
will be cheating.
Okay! So, what I need for you to do then, because you are going to be counting cards, I will let you do that. I think you've probably cheated before. I'm going to need you then we'll call this finesse control.
Okay, sounds good. Can I also add an experience?
Hecatae got a 6 with fear.
Let me roll mine. Ooh, 16 with fear. But you know what? I'm going to use my fearless ancestry trait. I'm going to mark 2 stress and turn that into a hope roll. That's a 16 with
so you
hope.
gain a hope.
Mm-hmm.
That is super
Beautiful.
cool. I got a 20 with fear.
Okay, a 20 with fear. And then I'm also going to need for you to roll me a finesse. This is going to be another finesse roll. Well, I guess that actually counts. I will say that counts, and you are able to successfully count cards. Essentially, what you are trying to do is do this while not being detected. For Zuìhuo and Rick, both of you win. Zuìhuo, we're going to say you win 2 handfuls of gold. Rick, you win 1 handful. Hecatae, unfortunately, you rolled very poorly and immediately lose. And not only you immediately lose a handful, but not only that, I will say that because you rolled with fear, as you all are sitting there, this individual, this mysterious boogeyman, sort of stops by the table and stands to observe, and just sort of looks at the 3 of you as you sit there, and seems to be observing you coolly.
I offer him a shrimp.
You see he smiles.
Good shrimp today. Good shrimp today.
As he smiles, you see that there are holes in his teeth. They do not look like they were rotted. They look like they were drilled. And he smiles at you and says,
"No, thank you. I'll be fine."
I imagine you stick to a liquid diet with that sort of mouth.
I know, right? And I even figure a liquid diet might kind of hurt because of the exposed nerves and
Put
stuff.
like a tiny straw in there.
Oh, yeah, actually, that's not a bad idea. But, sir, I've not seen you on the floor of the Carnelian before. Are you a new worker here?
Yes, I've worked for Mr. Guza before, but I'm sort of doing the rounds at his various establishments. I'll help provide additional security.
I see. Well, speaking of security concerns, I've been around the block a few times, and I'm pretty sure a notorious swindler was spotted that away by the mahjong tables.
Go ahead and roll. This is going to be deceive. Go ahead and roll deceive.
Okay, my goal is to get this guy off our tail for long enough for us to break in to one of our 2 places. Yeah. And I have an ability called Deft Deceiver, where I can spend a hope to take advantage on a roll I make to deceive or trick someone into believing a lie I tell them.
Nice.
Okay.
All right. Deceive.
That adds an additional D6, right? That's with advantage? Okay.
Yes, so I'm going to add advantage. There we go. Can I use experience here too? I would like to use street smarts.
Okay.
Go.
If that applies. Like street smarts include, I think, like swindling people and getting them off my tail.
Absolutely. I'm on board with that.
All right. I think I did it. Oh, okay. That's a 12 with hope.
Okay. A 12 with hope.
Can I actually use one of my domain effects?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
All right. I'm going to use reassurance. As Zuìhuo is talking, I'm going to grab Ta on the shoulder and say, yeah, and like in addition to that, there's beetles all over the place, and they're climbing up people's legs. It's just a mess. It's just a mess over there. I think this swindler might actually be planting the beetles because they look exactly like the
beetle
coins.
Swindler. Yeah, no, he's a real problem.
Yeah.
What does that mechanically do?
So I think that means that Connie gets to re-roll the action roll they made.
Oh,
hey, okay.
Because I rolled a 2 and a 1 on my dice. I only got a 12 because of all the modifiers. Okay.
Incredible.
All right, let's do that again. With all the same modifiers, I assume it's just like a full reroll. That's much better. It's a 31 with hope.
Woo! Whoa! Okay. You say this, and you see this person's head sort of tilt to the side, and you said you got it with hope. Was that with hope or with fear?
With hope.
With hope. Okay. Beautiful. Yeah, you see his head kind of tilt to the side, and he says,
Beetle swindler. They didn't mention anything about it.
Yeah, he's the stag who snags.
You know what? You're the first people to mention this to me. Would you mind if you see any more beetles or any more evidence of this beetle swindler, speak to any of the staff. They'll know me. My name is Synapse.
And he turns and strides off into the crowd. For those of you, any of you who are watching where he goes, you can see that he very quickly makes a beeline for security, like some of the members of security, and then heads off into the back.
While this was happening, I think as I saw them going up the stairs to the upper level, I would have trailed behind kind of nonchalantly and then just found another sort of installation of plants to kind of take my attention while I had them in my peripheries. Question. As I'm seeing Synapse, who is this boogeyman, right? I'm watching him leave, and as he goes into the back, does that match the sort of map that I have of this place where the manager's office is?
Yes. So most of the actual rooms that you would have of this place, like there's the main floor, and accessible from that floor are the restaurant, there is a stage area, there's a bar, all of that is like completely open. And then there's the kitchen doors, and then there is an upstairs area. There are also stairs to get downstairs. However, those stairs are only accessible from behind the staff doors. So there's the kitchen doors, and then there's a separate set of doors, the staff doors. And back there are the various offices and the stairs that lead down into the basement, as well as, you know for a fact, the manager's office and the counting room. It is very likely that he has gone to speak to perhaps both of those groups of people, but certainly the manager.
As soon as he's out of sight, I'll go to the group and I'll point out the trajectory and just describe through those doors and downstairs. That's where we want to head. The manager's office is a place that came to me in this vision that I just had. We will find Victor through those doors and down those stairs.
Oh, shoot. So we just sent the guy to the place we're trying to go.
I think he was probably going to head there anyway.
Yeah, but I guess now that he's going there, we can maybe get the jump on him, because I don't think he'll be expecting us to follow.
That's right. Good thinking. Yeah, get the jump on him. Okay, yeah, we can totally do that.
Yeah.
I can totally fight that scary sponge guy.
Excuse me, are we dealing another hand? And you see that your dealer is still standing there, smiling at all of you, patiently waiting to start dealing again.
I think it's probably better for me to just sit this one out and just watch and maybe learn a little bit. I do have these for you guys though. And Heck, out of their inner lapel kind of pocket, takes out 3 little prepackaged biscuits and hands them to each of you, one per person.
Oh, sweet. Thanks, Hecatae.
This is incredible. I can make a little po' boy.
I have a little skill called Youthful Spirit at the beginning of each session. Give everyone a hope.
As each of you eat this, you feel a sense of... You feel the love that Hecatae has put into these treats.
That's amazing.
They're also low-fat, low-calorie Hopewells.
They're delicious.
Your name is literally Hecatae Hopewell. You were custom built to play this game.
I really trying today.
All right.
One more hand couldn't hurt, right? Or we should go.
Yeah.
But one more hand?
We do one more. Just, we got to make it look natural. We got to make it look like we're patrons. Yeah.
All right. Just one more.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Erzan, you feel Hecatae grab your arm in anticipation, like they are terrified.
Oh, boy.
I'm going to cheat again.
Okay.
All right. Rick, I'll go ahead and use one of my... I don't think I can use it on myself. Shit. I'll use a prayer dice on Zuìhuo. I'll give you just like 1 extra point with one of my prayer dice.
Oh, excellent. Just another +1.
Yeah, just a +1 bonus.
Amazing. And I'd also love to add my gambler experience again.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. All right, come on. Let's see. So I think... You know what? Screw it. Hit me.
All right, here we go. They start dealing. What do you all get? Rick and Zuìhuo. What first, Rick, what did you get?
All right, I got a 12 with fear. I instantly call my wife and apologize for gambling.
Yeah, immediately, you lose the handful that you just won.
Golgi, I'm sorry. I'm at the tables again, hon. I know.
Oh, Rick, we talked about this. You can't
Please.
keep doing this. The kids' college fund, Rick.
You gotta help me be strong. I just thought, if I don't gamble more, they're not gonna give me more shrimp. And you know how I get cranky without my shrimp.
You're eating the shrimp?
I'm eating the shrimp.
You gotta ease off the shrimp, honey.
I
When
know.
you get shrimp in you, you're out of control.
Hi, Golgotha!
Oh yeah, Hex here.
Hi, Heck. Hi.
It's true. The shrimp does make me a little crazy.
Hi, I'm Zuìhuo. I'm sure your
yeah,
children are very beautiful.
Oh, they're terrible. They're terrible.
Yeah, they're awful, but we love them.
Right, that's
And
nice.
Erzan's somewhere around here too. Say hi, Erzan.
Hi, Erzan.
Yeah, we're all having
Hello,
fun.
I'm Golgotha. You sound like someone who is filled with deep sadness, and I love that about you.
Oh, I completely taken off guard and not used to having anybody call him out like that. I think I sort of shrink a little bit. Just look right at Hecatae.
What did
Yeah,
Zuìhuo
she's
get?
got a third eye situation. It's great.
You will pierce your soul.
Zuìhuo
And
got
your
a
heart.
19 with fear.
Okay. I think at this, at this point, you've won another 2 handfuls of gold, and this is all in the form of chips. So they're giving this to you as chips, not raw gold. You would have to go down and get this all exchanged. I think at this, Alonzo appears once more, and says, well, looks like you've really been winning, haven't you?
Yeah, hey, Big Al. Yeah. You know how some nights go. Some nights you win big, some nights you lose big. I guess this is one of the former, huh?
Uh-huh. Zuìhuo, are we gonna have another problem?
No. I've been playing clean all night, promise. Pinky swear.
Yeah.
Go
Double
ahead
pinky
and
swear.
roll.
I've been watching, Tom.
Go ahead and roll to deceive.
Okay.
And I will say, Rick, if you're jumping in, I'll let you add a D6 to that.
Okay, awesome. Oh, do I need to
Love
mark
it.
hope for that?
Yes, you do need to mark a hope.
I'm going to invoke my experience. I'm just a little guy. As Zuìhuo says, come on, Al, you and I go way back. You know I've learned my lesson. And besides, would I really risk cheating when there's such a terrifying boogeyman prowling the halls? I don't think so. Not even I'm that foolish.
I wouldn't recommend it. It would be very bad.
Yeah,
very bad.
Stretch me out like gummy taffy sponge.
Worse than that.
Yeah, oh, yeah, absolutely. I wouldn't risk it. So I'm gonna roll. That is a 27 with.
That you see that Alonzo reminisces for a moment about all how far back the two of you go, all the times that he has thrown you out physically of this place, that he has had to take you into the back room. They've had to rough you up to try and teach you a lesson. Don't you ever do this again? There have been a lot of run-ins that you've had with this staff, and there's like a moment of fondness. And he looks up at you, and despite being an even littler guy than you, gives a big smile and says, I can't be mad at you.
Right? Yeah, come on.
Yeah, stay out of trouble, because I'm being very serious with you right now. If you thought what happened before was bad, Synapse is a whole new level. And he just turns and walks off.
All right, we better go do this thing. And if possible, I'd love to not be at the very front when we're getting the jump on them. Maybe I'll be on the side or
sure
off.
thing, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm happy to take the lead. I slam my briefcase a few times. That thing can take a couple hits if need be.
Okay.
As we descend, Jeremy, can I do a flashback?
For our audience, a flashback is not a normal Daggerheart mechanic. It is something that I have instituted because the players are trying to enact a plan that they, in real life, did not get a chance to create. So we've instituted everybody gets a flashback for free so that they can narrate having prepared something for any situations that they come up against. Each player gets a free one, and then they can spend 3 hope to use subsequent flashbacks. Go ahead, Rip.
Okay, so as we're descending the stairs, I am flashing back to when I was positioned by the kitchen, and I want to, and if you'll allow it, I can make a roll for this. I want to say that I was trying to listen in on the kitchen staff for information about, their serving routes and things like that, to find out if there's like someone who is assigned to the downstairs region, if there's like a code for the door, like what we need to do to get through that door, and if there's any way we could, put on some kitchen staff uniforms or like bribe one of the staff to get down there, something like that.
Okay. You know what? I will say, go ahead and make this will succeed regardless, but depending on how well it succeeds, go ahead and roll. This is going to be instinct perceive.
Let's see. Can I use my regional representative for the IRS Mavros City experience?
Yes, absolutely.
Right. A 15 with fear.
Okay, a 15 with fear. As you were standing outside of that kitchen, you heard through the hustle and the bustle inside, you heard a person seemingly like very hush-hush whisper,
"All right, I'm in. I don't think anyone knows yet, but I think I should be able to get a sample soon."
Okay.
And you hear that from the other side of the door, and then like the door opens, and from walking out of it, you see a Galapa. Galapa in Daggerheart is basically a turtle person. You see a turtle person wearing a cook's uniform, looking around kind of nervously, and you, I think, using as a representative of an agency, especially an agency that will often prefers to remain secret, an agency that prefers to remain secret from most mortal kind and will often send you on rather dangerous missions. You immediately have a kinship with this person. You can tell this person they are up to something. This individual has a secret and they are trying to infiltrate.
Okay, so from what I've gleaned, the Galapa over there, the one with the very tall chef's hat. I don't know why it's so tall. I saw he had the duck when he went through the door. He is also infiltrating. So I think that we could maybe propose an arrangement, whether we bribe him or we try to get on the same side as this guy. I think he might be our key to getting beyond that door.
Okay, yeah. Do you think the chef's hat is so tall because there's something underneath it?
There might be a smaller turtle underneath. It could be a ratatouille situation.
Oh, that'd be he's so cute.
Also, it's so tall.
Looks intently at the hat, trying to see if they can like sense anything moving underneath it.
Roll a sense. Roll instinct sense.
Sure. That is a 15. Critical success.
Okay. Yeah. So not only is there something under that hat, you think that there is likely like something magic under that hat. You're not sure if it's something alive or if it's a tool of some kind, but you think that this person is like maybe armed and dangerous, and they have something hidden under their hat.
I think there is something there. I can sense it. It's like a magical. If it's a rat, it's magical.
Oh, holy moly. Okay. Jackpot. Wow. I understand why you like gambling now.
Yeah, I know, right?
What a rush. What an absolute rush. All right. So should we try and corner this fella and see if we can, get some information from him? Or should we just switch from tailing Synapse to tailing him?
I think it might be a good idea to see where he's heading. That might help clue us in on what his intentions might be.
Okay.
That's true, and Synapse probably won't be in the kitchens.
That's true. Seemed like he was heading straight to the manager's office.
Right. In fact, I'm gonna say for the purposes of you being able to see this person, you are currently standing outside of the kitchen doors, looking through the glass at this Galapa, because he's currently in there. You see that as you all are talking, the Galapa turns to, like, you can't really hear them over the din from inside there, but says something to one of the other cooks and heads towards those doors, heads towards the kitchen doors, walks right through them, and actually heads towards the staff doors.
Staff doors. Okay. Yeah, let's. I'm no good at slinking. Is anyone good at slinking and just like following unsuspiciously? I tend to knock things over when I walk.
I will throw out the idea. Yeah, not only do you have Zuìhuo, who is very good at slinking, you also do Erzan. You do have your hummingbird, whom you can send and see through its eyes.
I'll convey that, and I also have. I can also create a distraction if we're trying to as I was noticing how Zuìhuo's focus on the chef's hat, how that drew their attention, something clicks. I can create some sort of a distraction that would pull everyone's attention away from where we intend to go, and then the hummingbird sort of soars around me. I could also just take a look myself and see what's going on beyond those doors.
Why not both? I could use your hummingbird friend as an extra pair of eyes.
Okay, tell me when you're ready, and I'm going to kind of go, so we're on the other side of the kitchen doors. Through the kitchen is busy, I'm imagining, is the staff doors, and that is where we want to get to, because that's where the basement stairs are that might lead us to the manager's office. Am I understanding that correctly? Okay.
Yes.
Then as soon as I see Zuìhuo kind of spring into action, I am going to summon... I'm going to start a fire in the kitchen.
Yes!
Okay.
In the opposite direction. Yep, it's I with my wild touch kind of druidcraft feature, I can start a campfire. So why not make a campfire out of something that's already burning and just expand that and make it sort of out of control ever so slightly to pull everyone's attention towards it.
The fire bursts into flames. What does it look like as you use your magic?
I've been taught to remain as subtle as possible, so you just see my head sort of snap in the direction where I intend to create some sort of an effect, and it's really just my hand moves up in a fluid motion, and I just push my hand forward, and the air around us ripples for a moment, and then completely on the other side, there's just a burst of magical energy, and flames erupt out of this stove that looks like it's just losing control and igniting.
Immediately the staff is like, "Ha!" Like people are trying to grab fire suppressants. They're immediately trying to, like, there's burn healing gel in there. I imagine Zuìhuo, you've worked at establishments that have this as well. There's just incidental burns that you get. People are immediately run over to the dispenser and start pumping it out and smearing it all over themselves as the flames begin to spread. The chef screams, literally flies across the room and tries to cast magic on the fire. It is a complete catastrophe going
going on in there. I would say more than enough of a diversion for you all to slip through.
If it looks like we can all slip through, then I'm just going to start to. I'll leave right after Zuìhuo and kind of try to wave everybody forward as well.
All right, off we go.
Yeah. Now, if you all want to go, you all can absolutely slip right through the kitchen. It's just a matter of, like, sneaking through the halls. Zuìhuo is going to be, and the Hummingbird are going to be much better at being able to get through the halls unnoticed. However, it would be better for you all to get closer to your destination. So if you want to, like, slip through here and then duck into, like, a little closet or something, the other three of you, and just hang out there while Zuìhuo heads off, that
sounds
work.
like a great idea.
Yeah, that seems great.
Absolutely.
Excellent.
Okay.
Can we look for a closet that might have like extra chef smocks in it?
Yes, absolutely. You know what? Take a stress, and you can automatically just find one. So if you can find one that just has like cook uniforms in it, and the rest of you are able to slip in there.
I get really
Zuìhuo.
stressed trying to find the supply closet, and I'm just like standing right behind it. Like, where the fuck is
There's
the
a lot of people
supply
running
closet?
around with hot stuff and knives and stuff like, and also the conversation from Golgotha is still weighing on you as the rest of you slip into this closet. Zuìhuo, go ahead and hit me with a. This is going to be a finesse hide roll.
I would like to invoke my fourth and final type of experience, which is right place, right time. I'd love to, while I'm like hiding, arrive like perfectly in position wherever it might be. Depending on the outcome of the roll, I might be perfectly in position to be seen. Who knows? But I'd like to be there.
All right, sounds good to me. And Erzan, could you roll for your hummingbird? I think the hummingbird is, I'm going to say, has advantage on this because it is a very small little bird.
Excellent.
We will say roll, this is going to be finesse hide as well, but roll with advantage. And I'm going to say that the DC is lower for you for your hummingbird because it's so little.
Oh man, I got a 1 on my fear. That's a 14 with hope.
Okay. And Erzan, what did you get?
Okay, a total of 7 with hope.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Okay.
I rolled a 2
So
on the
just-
hope die and a 1 on the fear. Yikes. And a 1 on the advantage.
So both of you rolled with hope, is that correct?
Yes. We did.
Well, that's good. Both the hummingbird and Zuìhuo, you managed to slip through the doors. Zuìhuo, you get there just in time to see that this Galapa is heading downstairs into like what looks kind of like some kind of a basement or something, like the basement section. And I'm going to even say that you arrive just in time to hear them say,
Okay, so far so good. No one suspects a thing. You're doing great, Wallaby.
as they head downstairs. And as they finish their like Wallaby, they go, oh, and bump into, coming up the stairs, Synapse. Synapse steps upstairs, looks over, sees both you and the hummingbird, and smiles once again. A very hole-filled smile, and says,
Now you can walk over here, or you can run. I'm telling you right now, your best bet is to walk over here. But I'd really like it if you'd run.
Is Wallaby also here? Like we're all in this.
no,
stairwell together?
Wallaby went downstairs. Like Wallaby went right downstairs, and Synapse sees you.
Oh god. Hi, Synapse. What? This isn't the bathroom. Oh my god. I'm
I'll say
really
it again.
lost.
You can come over here with me, or you can run. Your best bet is to
I'm
come over
running.
here.
He's like mid-sentence, and I'm sprinting in the direction of where Wallaby went.
Okay, so you're running, because I want to be clear, where Wallaby went is directly where Synapse just came from. There's a set of stairs.
Yes.
Wallaby went down the stairs, almost bumped into Synapse, and Synapse is now standing at those stairs. So you're running at Synapse, hoping
I'm
to
trying
slip
to
by
slip
him.
past him. Yes.
Whew, okay,
And, like,
so
evade.
yeah, this is okay. Good luck. I will tell you, no matter what, he's going to get an attack on you.
That's fine.
As you run past. So, are you doing anything special to try and boost your evasion, or are you just running for it?
I have my stealth expertise, so when I attempt to move, well, I am noticed here.
Yeah,
through a
unfortunately,
dangerous
you are
area. Yeah, I've been
fully.
noticed.
You've been
Yeah.
made.
That's okay.
Jeremy, are we able to see what's going on, or is this like happening? Are we?
You all hid
hiding
in the closet.
Yeah.
The
fair.
only one who can see what's going on is Erzan, who can see
Yes.
through the eyes of the hummingbird. So Erzan can see and
Yes.
could theoretically be narrating to you all like,
I am
"Oh
absolutely
no! Oh
doing
no!"
that. 100%.
How's it going? Bad.
It's
okay.
bad. Zuìhuo is caught. Are we going to spring into action and assist?
Yeah.
They're gonna need help.
We're fully compromised. We should probably go, right? Heck,
Yes,
sound good?
go now.
Yeah, we can go, but I'm gonna do a thing. So I have Rune Ward. I have a deeply personal trinket that is infused with protective magic. That is Blix. I am going to send Blix, and I go, Blix, away! Go to Zuìhuo now! And Blix, like this little shadow creature, starts running, kind of sticking to the edges of everyone's vision. You can't really see him unless like they want to be seen. And they kind of leap and soar, and kind of you feel like this little pressure around your neck, and this kind of cool mist that lets you know that he's there. When you take damage, you can spend a hope to reduce it by 1d8.
Oh, thank God. Does Blix get there in time?
I will say that yes, as you
so
start
fast.
to take,
Okay.
because we kind of had like a moment of you being like, and standing there. I will say Blix like managed to slip underneath. I will even say this: I think Blix can just pop right out of your shadow.
Cool.
I think when Hecatae sends him out, it sort of disappears into the ground and then pops up out of your shadow and wraps himself around your neck as you start to take off. So, do you? Oh boy. Okay. What benefit does Blix confer again?
Blix, if Zuìhuo takes any damage, Ta can spend a hope to reduce it by 1d8.
Okay, that's good. Because as you run up to Synapse, who smiles even wider, Synapse, you see motion in his teeth. Through the holes start to, like, almost like parasitic worms, start to flow out into, like, all these little strings, these pale strings start to flow out of his mouth, out of his teeth, the holes in his teeth, and they sort of wrap themselves into a spear in front, like, coming out of his teeth that he breaks off, and he has an ability called Unparalleled Skill, which allows him to make an attack that automatically hits. As you run up to him, these nerve endings that he has just extruded out of himself and have hardened themselves into a spear, he's going to stab it directly into your foot. So that is going to be, well, we're gonna roll damage. He stabs down directly into your foot. You take 26 points of physical damage.
What does that mean? How does damage work here?
So the way the damage works, I'm glad you asked. You can mark armor slots. You have armor slots that you can use, and you can mark those to try and reduce the amount of damage. But the way that this essentially works is if you look at under the episode where the section on your character sheet where it says calculate damage, it says hit points and stress. You can see minor damage is 1 HP. The threshold for major damage is 7, and you mark 2 HP. The threshold for severe damage is 21, and you mark 3 HP. Now, you can mark armor slots to try and reduce the amount of damage that you just took, which, again, is 26. So you roll a d8 already to try and reduce that, and then you can mark armor slots to try and reduce it further so that you don't take as much damage.
Oh my God. Would that even matter if I marked, like, okay, damage after... If I marked all 7
armor slots.
I'm gonna mark all 7.
Okay, have you rolled? You roll the d8 first to see how well.
Wait,
no matter
D8,
what,
okay.
it have to. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. I will roll the d8. Roll 1d8, please.
Come on.
Okay.
That's a 6.
Ooh,
A
good.
6, so that lowers it down to a 22, which is still severe damage, which would still be, make you take 3 points of health. You'd mark 3 HP. Do you still want to mark all 7 armor slots?
No.
Okay.
Right? How do I get that down so I only mark 2 HP?
That you would only have to spend 1, and you'd bump it down because your armor is 3. Every slot you take does 3, reduces 3 points of damage. You see where it says evasion 15, armor 3? For every slot that you mark, that subtracts 3 from the damage total.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
I will
Now,
do
this
that
does
then.
count as your armor taking damage.
Yeah, that's totally fine. I will mark 1 armor and take 2 slots of HP damage.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
So this stabs your foot directly into the ground. As this happens, you feel as it like pierces through you and into the ground, it unravels, like the nerves unravel and slide themselves, like you feel them spreading out through the wound in your foot. And I will say, as this happens, you briefly lose awareness of what is happening around you. I want you to take us back to the very last time that you saw Yujin alive.
Oh, God. It was right before I was leaving for another night out gambling. As the spear goes through my foot, the pain suddenly truncates. It stops as I'm thrown into this memory, this flashback. I am leaving Yujin's bar, where we hang out, where we talk, where we spend time. And it is not a painless leaving. In fact, this is on the heels of an argument we've been having, a very, very familiar, well-tread conflict that we never see eye to eye about. And we see Zuìhuo looks upset. They're like lingering at the threshold. It's after hours. None of the other patrons are here. It's just me and her. And Zuìhuo's saying, "Oh, I'm going to be fine, okay? It's I have to make the money back somehow. What, you want me to just be broke and in debt forever?"
No, I want you to stop putting yourself in these situations where you're constantly going deeper and deeper in debt. There are no guarantees, Zuìhuo. There are no guarantees that you're gonna make it back. You could lose more, and every time you lose more, you get in deeper with very, very bad people.
Well, what else am I supposed to do? I'm already in deep. I mean, I've already hit rock bottom. I can't exactly go any lower. Least I can do is try to claw myself out.
Yujin holds out one of her scaly hands. Yujin is a Dracona, a dragon, a humanoid dragon-like being who, as I said before, normally her scales are the color of tiger's eye gemstones. And she is, the best way to describe her is probably butch. Her sort of head, she has sort of a head fin that resembles a mohawk, and she is on the taller side, though she's relatively slender, probably pushing 6 foot-ish, but she's rather slender, and she's looking down at you. She holds out her hand, and she off like for your hand to see if she can just take it briefly, gently.
Are you serious? I'm gonna be late.
She grabs you, she now forcibly grabs you by the wrist and pulls your arm up and then starts pointing at each of your fingers and saying when each of them was broken by the people that you owed debts to. And like pointing how all of the fingers are slightly crooked and at various points people have taken it out on you. And she's like, I remember this one. This was, what, just last year? Well, no, this one's happened a couple times. This curve is from last year. That one's from 2 years ago. She looks at you and she says, Zuìhuo, who is the one who has to set all of your broken bones? When these people, they come for you and they say, well, if you can't pay up, we'll take it out of your hide. Who is it?
Listen, and they wrench their hand out of Yujin's grasp. I appreciate everything that you do for me, Yujin. I really do, but at least I still have all 10 of my fingers and 8 of my toes. That's better than most people down here in the sticks, right? So, listen, this is exactly the reason why I have to go. I can't keep relying on you. I have to make enough money to be independent and do my own thing and pay you back.
Maybe I can talk to Bill, and he can see about hiring you on as a cook.
No, don't talk to Bill.
Maybe Bill, I can talk to him and see if he'll take you back. After last time, when you stole the money, that, things kind of... But maybe, if I just talk to him, he'll let
Bill thinks I'm a piece of shit, okay, Yujin? And I am a piece of shit. And the only person who doesn't think I'm a piece of shit is you. But can you please just let me go and try to do this thing for you? For me? For us? Can't you see I'm trying to be better and this is the only thing I'm kind of good at? I don't know how to cook. I don't know how to do anything but gamble. Please, Yùn, just don't make this harder than it has to be.
Every time you walk through those doors, I have to ask myself, when they come back, what new injury are they going to have? Are they going to still have all of their body parts? Am I going to need to clean them up? Sometimes I have to ask myself, are they even going to come back within the next few days? Because sometimes you go on these benders, and I don't see you for a week or more. I lost count of the times I found you in gutters, half sensible because you gambled for 6 days in a row, and they threw you out in the street. And you couldn't even find your way home. You were too messed up.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry I'm such a worthless fucking burden, then.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that you are my friend, and I care about you, and I don't want to see you hurt. Every time you get hurt, it hurts me. And I'm not saying that to blame you. That's what it means to care about somebody. Is that when you care about them, it hurts you when they get hurt. And I just don't want you to be hurt anymore.
In the memory, in the present, it's as if Zuìhuo is watching the scene play out from outside of the pub. They're watching through the glass. They're watching themselves, and they see themselves hesitate. And they are pounding soundlessly on the glass, and they're screaming, but they can't even hear their own words coming out of their mouth. They're screaming at themselves to stop being such a fool. To take the outstretched hand, to look past their own self-inflicted hatred and shame and guilt and feelings of worthlessness that no one else has put on them, except themselves. But in this moment, they know the choice that they make, but that doesn't stop them from trying to reach themselves in the past. Time is such a cruel mistress, marching inexorably onward. Can't change what has already happened. She's not powerful enough. And in the memory, Zuìhuo hesitates. And they really could have. They really could have listened, and that's the tragedy of this moment. They could have said yes. There was a part of them that wanted to listen, to stop, to close the half-open door behind them and leave and say, fine, I'll do this. I'll try to change. It'll be hard, but it's worth it. And maybe I'll make mistakes and I'll hurt myself and I'll hurt you, but at least I'm trying. But that's not the choice Zuìhuo makes. Zuìhuo makes an entirely different decision. They say, well, that's not the kind of person I am, okay? This is all I'll ever be, just some piece of shit from the lower city, okay? So stop trying to say I'm someone that I'm not. Get off your fucking high horse.
She looks down and then looks up at you with one golden eye, and she says, I hope I see you soon.
Zuìhuo turns, leaves, and slams the door. And that is the first and only night that Ta uses not Ta's own name at the casino.
Days later, after you've been thrown out of half the casinos in this district, you perform your usual ritual of going to visit Yùn at the end of these benders that you go on. And you arrive not at the pub that she works at, but at her door, to see the door hanging from its hinges, opened. It looks like the hinges have in fact been broken partly. And inside, you smell a very familiar smell, a metallic smell of blood.
Yùn, look, I'm sorry, and I lost even more, and I'm here to maybe, talk to you about Bill and... Yùn?
No response.
Well, what the fuck? Hey, hello? And Zuìhuo carefully, with a horrible feeling in the pit of their stomach that they're not looking at yet, they push the door in, and they take a step forward.
You see a sight that I think sticks with you for the rest of your life. Yùn, having been tied down to her old love seat, it looks like they did to her what they would normally do to you, except much more extreme. When they really want to work on somebody, they tie them down, and they're able to swing and hit them a lot harder, and they don't go flying all over the place. It's a lot easier if you're going to hurt somebody that way. And she's sitting there in her chair. You can see multiple appendages have been broken. But more, I think, horrifying than that is her head, which is mostly in shadow. From here, it looks like it's not her head. It doesn't look right. It looks like part of it's gone. And as you get closer, you can see that it appears that the side of her head has just been fully caved in. And I don't even know if you noticed when you first saw it, because I think just the moment, that shock was so powerful that I don't know if you ever took this detail in. But as you're reliving this moment, you can just barely make out that in the fractured remains of her head, there appears to be some sort of shattered marking that someone had made. A dark, purplish, almost circular mark. Circular, swirling-like mark that you only really notice it now in this moment as you're being, like, forcibly transported there through your own memories, through your own brain. You see that there is some sort of dark purple mark that was all broken up when her head was damaged. And as you see her sitting there and you notice this, I think you hear her voice, and you hear her once again say, "I hope I see you again soon."
Zuìhuo, in the present, her ghost self, is standing at the threshold as her past self runs forward, jolting Tada self out of this shock and horror, in denial, running over to their friend, trying to make sure that they're okay, checking the limbs, looking at the head, trembling hands touching the blood on the side of the head, shaking, making noises that Zuìhuo wasn't sure they were capable of making up until this moment. It's terrible. They can barely watch themselves lose it in this moment of grief. And all the feelings from that time are still there. The shock of it, the anger, the grief, and overwhelmingly subsuming all of it like a tidal wave, like a tsunami, is the guilt. The guilt of it all. This blood, this bashed in head, this death, it's their fault. They were the one that used Yùn's name at these casinos when their own name got them kicked out of the front door before they could even step foot onto the felt. They had to use Yùn's name. They didn't think this would happen. They didn't think they'd bomb out this badly, cause these enforcers to come and knock on what should have been their door. This should have been them. It should have been them with their head busted in, their brain bleeding, this symbol, like, seared into their blood. It should have been them. And they watched themselves fall to their knees and curl up at Yùn's lifeless feet and cry, stay in this fetal position for hours, years, decades it feels like, and just weep until finally people come and they take her corpse away. But now in the present, this ghost, Zuìhuo, looking at Yùn, looking at that symbol, those final words rattling through Tada head. I don't understand. What is that?
And I think with that, you find yourself back. I think standing, not even standing, I think of your own power. You didn't pass out, but I think you briefly lost control of yourself, and you fell forward and are currently you're sort of leaning against, almost being held by Synapse. And Synapse whispers into your ear, "Thank you. I love it when they run." Now it is at this point that the rest of the party, because all of this happened in an instant, the rest of the party comes bursting through those doors, and you see Zuìhuo is in Synapse's clutches. You can see probably blood pooling out from Ta's foot as Synapse looks up at the rest of you and smiles again and says, "Come to join the party?"
No, I'd like to make a complaint. This shrimp is undercooked. And I throw it in his face, and then I'm going to swirl around and blast him with a bolt.
Okay. Cool. We're gonna enter combat. So the way that this is gonna work, you can go ahead and take your actions, and I will just keep track of how those actions go. And yeah, go ahead,
Sounds like a
Rick.
threat.
It's a promise. It's a promise.
Okay, yeah. So I splash his face with marinara sauce, and then as I'm doing that, I pull out my briefcase and Nicholas D. Wolfwood style turn it into a giant gun that shoots radiant energy. So this is a bolt beacon. Mm-hmm. This is a spellcast roll.
Okay.
Let's see. That is 13.
13 with what?
Let's see here. Sorry. That's a 13 with hope.
Okay, 13 with hope. So a 13 does not succeed. You do not hit him.
Wow.
You blast that bolt, and he just leans with Zuìhuo sort of to the side so that it misses both of them and burns a hole in the back wall. What else would you like to do?
Do you have
anything else you wanted to do?
I'm trying to see if there's anything I could add to that real quick.
Okay. While you're looking for that, did anybody else have something they wanted to do?
Yes.
Can I go ahead?
Sorry, go for it. You can resolve your.
Okay, yeah. I just realized, so I can use prayer dice on myself. I'll go ahead and burn a prayer dice. I have a 4 saved up, so I'll add that to the roll. That 13 becomes a 17.
17 still does not hit.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, Synapse ain't no joke.
Okay.
So even as you pray and you feel the power of death and accountancy flow through you, unfortunately you're unable to strike true. Erzan, what were you gonna do?
Okay. So the first thing I would like to do is I see the scenario playing out. And my hummingbird is right next to Zuìhuo and the boogeyman, Synapse. And I'm going to drop down to the ground, and I lay my hands down into the ground, and roots and vines start to sprout across the floor and start to wrap themselves around Synapse as I am casting Vicious Entangle.
Nice.
And I will. I would like to, with the spellcasting attack roll, may I utilize an experience, as one of my experiences is I'm coming for you for revenge.
Yes.
I associate him
I think that is
with Victor.
absolutely relevant, yes.
Okay, so this will be a and my familiar is within melee range. So that is a total of 15. However, if I fail, where is this? Adaptability. When I fail a roll that utilizes one of your experiences, I can mark a stress to re-roll, and I must make the new result. May I do that to re-roll this?
Yes, you can.
As I believe that is going to fail.
Yes.
Okay. Come on, baby.
You feel yourself, your whole body tightening as you're doing this,
Oh, I think this is going to miss as well. That's a 19.
A 19 hits.
Oh, man.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh my
Great, because I
gosh.
do get to add my experience with this reroll as well, yes?
Yes.
Okay, great. That is a 19. So you are going to take, I now roll 1d8 and 1d6. I'm just going to roll that here. 1d8, 1d6 plus 1. 2, 4, so that's 6, 7 damage total against him with that. And he is restrained.
Awesome.
Okay. And that actually makes 2 characters who are restrained, because currently Zuìhuo is also restrained because Ta is rooted to the floor. But both of them are restrained, which basically means you can still take actions and do other things, but you cannot move until that condition ends.
Great.
So that is your turn. Beautiful. That is going to be... I'm going to jump in and use one of the action points, one of these tokens here, to have Synapse act.
Wait!
Synapse...
Oh.
Yes.
Can Hecatae go before Synapse?
No.
Okay.
I'm so sorry. But I'm jumping in.
That was so firm and intimidating.
No. Synapse is going to hold... I think Synapse, you see one of Synapse's eyes sort of roll back in his head, and more of these nerves start to wheedle out of his ear. And he reaches
Those should
out...
stay inside.
And breaks them off, and they sort of form themselves into a blade, and he holds it up to the side of Zuìhuo's head, as if to like drive it into their temple.
Oh my goodness.
And looks at all of you and says,
They're not coming back if I do this, you understand. If you want them to stay alive just a little bit longer, I suggest you all come with me.
Hey, listen, yeah, we're here to... You know what? We're patrons. If you'd like to show us more of your casino, then by all means, let's go.
I've seen inside their head. And Synapse looks down at you, Zuìhuo, and says,
You want to talk to my boss, don't you?
Yeah, I do. Assuming that that's the person who... I mean, I assume you would know what I'm talking about.
smiles again, and it, almost one of the little nerve endings pokes out, like almost gives you a little wave out of his teeth, and looks up at the rest of you, and says,
Lay down your arms and come with me. We can go talk to my boss. What do you think?
That sounds good. Blix.
Blix calls back over to you and just curls around your neck and shivers.
Don't try any funny business, though. I want to look at this guy. Can I see what his intentions are? Can I roll maybe instinct?
Yeah, go ahead.
That is... Ooh, critical success. 15.
A critical success. Okay, I will tell you exactly what his intentions are. You get the sense from looking at this guy, and I'm going to say, with this, Hecatae is somebody who interests themselves, or who spends time looking up stuff about various boogeyman and different things like that. I think in this moment, even though you did not roll with intellect, I'm going to say that or with knowledge rather, you jog your memory, and yes, Synapse, you've heard of Synapse. Synapse uses his own nerve endings. He's able to extrude them and use them as weapons, and those allow him to, when he uses them on people, he's able to connect to their nervous systems, potentially manipulate their bodies or thoughts or memories. He is very likely going to bind you all and take you to wherever his employer is, and it is very likely that his hope is that he gets to torture you all. And he fully intends for none of you to leave here alive. Whatever he saw in Zuìhuo's mind has intrigued him so much, and the fact that you all are in league together, to him is an indication that you all present, your continued existence is a security risk, and so you need to be taken into custody. So if you go with him, you will likely meet his employer, but he will attempt to harm and end all of your lives.
I have a question on Hecatae's behalf about this.
Yes.
In what Hecatae can sense about like the binding threads that he would like bind us all with, would they be like really difficult to break out of?
They would be his nerves.
Okay, right.
Okay. So yeah, like tiny little ropes. You can break through
So
those.
what's the choice, Hecatae? What do you do?
Is this area low light? We said this was like a shadowy hallway?
I didn't say... Well, I did say there was a shadow in the hallway.
Yeah.
We will say that it's medium light. We'll say, do you have something you wanted to do?
Yeah.
Okay,
so
go ahead and do it.
I have low light living. When I am in low light or heavy shadow, I have advantage on rolls to hide, investigate, or perceive details. I'd love to step back into that shadow and then use my minor illusion to make an illusion of me running away.
I just want to highlight, the threat here was you surrender or he kills Zuìhuo. Are you going to reverse that and run away? Because that is what would likely result, is he would then attempt to kill Zuìhuo.
Okay. I guess we're all just
try to
gonna go.
gank him. We could also all try to just go all in and gank him right here.
Hey, what I'm thinking here, guys. We're at a casino. We were at the high rollers table. What's higher rolling than life and death? Take us to meet your boss. We want to roll the dice.
Hecatae, here's what I will add. You can illusion yourself so that it looks like he's binding you when he's actually not. If that's what you want to do.
Okay. Yeah, can I illusion myself to be a little thicker than I am?
Then this is, yes, I will say roll finesse to basically, this is going to be hide. You're trying to hide your actual size.
Yeah.
So go ahead and roll finesse. You said with advantage. Go ahead.
Okay, so that is baseline 15 with hope plus 1, so 16 with hope.
That beats his score. So as he comes over to each of you, it is sliding out of his fingers more nerve endings, and each of you are bound.
May I add one thing as this unfolds? He's still restrained by my ability. So as what appears Hecatae moves forward, and I can see him starting to move forward to try to activate this binding, I will say, let Zuìhuo go as you bind Hecatae. 1 for 1, and then we can see that we can trust you and follow you further.
He basically agrees to this as long as Zuìhuo sits down and does not leave. Because he's taking you all into custody. His position on this is he takes you all into custody, but he's willing to not keep holding on to them.
And also, I'd love to be able to patch up our friend here. You know, you did some real unnecessary... I don't know how you normally treat clients at your hotel, at your casino, but this is just rude. It just seems off base. So if you would allow me to patch Ta up over there.
Y'all for taking a little tour around the establishment, trying to make sure your kitchens are clean.
We can take care of it on the way.
And as his nerves slither out and begin to bind each of you, taking you to an uncertain future, that is where we will end this episode.
Whew, great work.
Not dead yet.
Won.
We won. We're not dead yet.
Yikes.